Computer. Here we go. Okay, so now we're being recorded. Okay, folks. Well, welcome to the Go for Diamond. Let me go for full screen so folks can recognize who is actually speaking. And let's go with speaker. Here we go. Welcome to the Go for Diamond webinar. And this evening, the topic is how to do an effective presentation. And I really believe that the information I'm going to share with you, if you do apply them, will actually make a difference in your results. So there's a few things I'm going to be sharing this evening in reference to where to find your tools and everything else. Now, what's really important here folks, is it is imperative that you learn how to present if you want to create financial independence with this opportunity. It is absolutely critical. And many of you have a beautiful voice, if you understand what I mean by that. You really have a good delivery. You're saying the right things. But what happens often is you don't do it often enough, or you depend on someone else to do it for you, and then you add on your points. And it's really important that you really own the presentation and not depend on others. Now, it's awesome to utilize others as a third-party credibility, but you have to become the main person. Now, tips and points that are important to help you with your presentation. If I look on the side as I took my notes here, and again, a lot of it. Yeah, I will share the presentation in a minute, but I just want to focus on these tips first. Number one is be in a quiet place. Very important. I cannot stress this enough. And if you can, use a computer. Now, it can be done with a cell phone. If you have a smart tablet that is large enough for you to see, and people, the apps are actually quite well designed and it works well, but there's nothing like using a laptop. Okay, this is what I do recommend. If you can't afford yourself a laptop, then use what you have. I don't want you to be handicapped by something that you can't afford doing. But the reality is, I'm just simply stating what are the best tips for you to have the best presentation possible. So again, be in a quiet place and avoid the distractions with notification on your cell phone and things happening while you're in the middle of your presentation. Do not do that. You want to focus your entire attention to the person that you're communicating to. The other one is listen to prior presentation, which will help you. Now, the GoCMax.com has still the presentation that we recorded last year. I will update that. The reason why it's there is because there's a lot of content, and there's products explanation and everything. If I start using, for example, the last presentation that Tammy and I recorded, which we pointing out on a maxpace.com, the fact it doesn't have as much information. So I'm just kind of dealing with some of the details because I know some of the folks like, for example, how Jasmine was sharing the details on the product and so forth. So I need to figure this one out.
I would keep that until we do another live.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I kept it, to be honest, because it has a complete. And honestly, most people won't remember the details of the updates or addendum, the changes that the presentation or the compensation plan has made. For most new people, everything kind of remains the same. Prime 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth.
You can change the comp plan one though.
Yes, I think I can definitely do that. What's really important as you are presenting, and often when I train associates, and I was training a group of associates in Nigeria to help them record their own webinar so they can actually share their presentation with their prospects. And one of the things that I found critical is, have you ever heard the expression a crescendo? The crescendo it's a term used in the music industry, where it starts from a point and it just basically grows and it becomes louder and louder and louder and louder. It's like a V on the side. Okay, it starts from a point of reference and then it expands. What do I mean by that? what your goal is when you start your presentation is, some people will come in with arms crossed, skeptical, whatever the situation it may be. And at the end of your presentation, you want them to feel the anticipation of wanting to get started. You don't want to miss out on this. Okay? I don't want to miss out on that. And this is what Tammy and I have witnessed in some of the best presentation out there, is you start kind of with a low monotone. And again, use your common sense here. I'm not saying for you to change who you are and so forth. What I'm saying here is, as you progress in your presentation, you may want to increase the excitement a little bit and kind of share some emotion and on how you feel now based on how things were. And again, all of this will transpire with experience as you share. But that's what I mean by a crescendo. You're starting from a starting point, and at the end of your presentation, you want people to feel the excitement and the fear of loss. That I don't want to miss out on that, regardless of the money situation or whatever the situation may be. The other point is, from time to time, very important, is pause, right?
That's a big one.
Often what happens is, I because of this tool right now, what I like is we can see people's expression. I can tell if someone's frowning or smiling or leaning forward or stepping back. And these are all the signs that tells me, is this person following me or am I losing the person? So you want to feel the temperature as you are presenting. You don't want to just be a robot. And when you're nervous at the beginning, I can appreciate it may feel that way because you just want to get through the presentation and then get right into the Q&As. But as you become more experienced in presenting, you want to feel that emotion. You want to feel what they feel just by watching their facial expressions. As adults, it's almost second nature. Everyone here can tell if someone is content or unhappy or turned off, or you know what I mean? Right? It's just human behavior, human interaction without saying a word. And these are all the things that you want to pay attention to. See, sometimes what happens is we have an agenda, and I'll give Tammy an opportunity to share her points in a minute. We have an agenda often, and we know what we want to share because we're passionate about maybe the science. Maybe we're passionate about the income opportunity. Maybe we're passionate about whatever it is that we are passionate about. And we tend to focus all our energy based on what we're passionate about. But we're not paying attention on what your prospect is passionate about. And I'll cover that in a minute as we talk about how to prepare before a presentation. So these, again, are all the tips. Okay? So take pause. And if you feel that you're maybe going too fast, or generally, because you've presented this a few times, that people tend to get hung up on certain areas there, take a pause and simply ask the message, Paul, how do you feel? Does that make sense to you? Right? I know, Lucy, we did a presentation recently with one of your wonderful prospect. Paul, I know we did the same too. And you probably noticed, I asked the person, how does it sound? How do you feel? Do you have any questions? When you do a one-on-one, it's not like a hotel presentation when you go through the entire flow. The interaction is critical. You want to make sure they're with you from the beginning to the end. The other point is, be ready to sign someone up. Often, some people might be ready to start, but you're not ready mentally, and you're not even familiar with the back office. Keep in mind, the back office is fairly new. As of the 18th of this month, we're using a new back office. And folks, you saw my little video on the Canada USA group and other groups that some of you may be part of. There's the Ghana leadership group. There's Nigerian leadership group, right? I have all different private groups and I share some individual things, right? So some of you might have heard of this. So be ready and be familiar with your tools, how to sign someone up. Don't wait till someone's ready to sign up for you to do it for the first time, but simulate an enrollment by using you without going through the credit card process, right? So that way you'll have a feel for how it works. Okay, so that's the point that I wanted to share. Do you have any other tips, Demi, before we continue on the tools?
No, I just like the flow of what Chris is putting together here with the tips and everything. You should know your prospect somewhat in their desires and what they don't like based on conversation. And I often move my presentation towards their needs. In other words, I'm not going to go and talk about something else about a benefit with the product or opportunity if it's not a need for them. I custom make my presenting in the benefits towards that person, because my goal is to give them what they're looking for, right? So pay attention to that as well in your presentation. So you don't want to expand on a whole bunch of stuff that's not relevant to that person. If they tell you that one of their biggest challenges is having time, the last thing you want to do is a 30-minute presentation or a 40-minute or an hour and a half presentation. That's the last thing you want to do. You ask them, how much time do we have?
Yes.
Okay, and they're going to tell you how much time they have. If they have 15 minutes, get right to the point. What is the most important thing for you right now that you want to know about with this company?
And remember, Tammy, there's some point that you're talking about that are here on how to prepare.
Okay, I'm not seeing what he's doing here totally, but you want to bypass some stuff based on their needs. So pay attention to all these little details, because these little details are going to get you the signups.
Yeah, and we're gonna come back to that, because what Tammy's talking about is critical. Mm-hmm. It's the difference between a successful presentation and a presentation that brings you no results. Regardless of how amazing you might have done your presentation, if these elements are not in check, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. Mm-hmm. So the other thing I'd like to also encourage, let's make sure that we mute each other. I did not mute anybody. I'm just relying on your integrity to do all of that. But I'd like to make sure that your videos are on. This is something I want to talk about. Since Eric, which one?
More.
Are we good here? Okay, yeah.
Okay, make sure you're all unmuted.
Yeah,
okay,
they're fine. Just one thing I do recommend too is have your videos live. Okay, mm-hmm. This is really, really, really important. Since Eric Worre has done this GoPro live event and even the 7 days to recruiting challenge, I always thought it was better, less distraction. But honestly, I really enjoy watching people's expression, nodding, getting involved. It adds on to the quality of your result, of your presentation. So I do recommend to keep your video on, but obviously mute yourself to minimize the background noise. Another thing, and again, it's all part of the presentation. Remember, we're doing things online now, right? And you want to make sure that it's not dead air all the time. What I mean by this is, if you're presenting and let's say you got 2 or 3 people listening in, make them express to them that it's okay to comment their questions or concerns. Because if you see them in real time, as I'm watching here, okay, I've noticed Maripol has put some comments in reference to some of my situation with writing and so forth. The point here is, when you interact like this, you are in presentation, someone may share something that could be a question, and in the process of presenting in real time, you can answer the questions while you're presenting. This is how fast it is, because a lot of it is very much common sense. So I encourage you to participate, and if you have any questions, concerns, comments, whatever, put them there. It really, really makes a difference. Let's give it a little test here. Anybody who is actually paying attention, type in Y for yes. Okay, awesome. See, this interaction, you see right away, see, I'm watching, and see, we're all driven, and we want to know what people are saying. We want to know what people are thinking. It's critical. So I've noticed that is absolutely important. It's a tip I didn't write down here. It's just something that it's important, okay? Now, let me shift into where to find the tools, okay? Now, what I want to express here, okay, let me go into
the second one, this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to share my desktop
okay.
right here. And I'm just going to put some of these things down. And I'm going to focus not on that yet. I'm going to bring this down for a minute. And I thought I brought the website up, and I probably put it down, or maybe this is what it is.
There it is.
Okay, it's right here. Okay, so here's what's really important. Where do you find the tools? And by the way, if you have not done so already, make sure you click the little red button here. Whenever we add a new video and new content, and Tammy and I are going to be working on that, immediately you'll be notified that a new video has been uploaded. Like for example, tonight, once this webinar is recorded and it's sitting on my computer, I will upload it into the Active Team training. Okay, but let's go back to the resource where you go under Documents. So to access the PowerPoint, you would click on Document. Okay, and also I want to thank Linda. And Linda, I'm assuming you did this on your own. And I know that before you were working with Paul and maybe someone else were working on the script. And I'll share with you that Linda has updated the script based on, let me just put these down, they're distracting. It's a small screen
Right?
on the enhancements. Let me just put this down. Okay. So for example, when you click on the documents, it will take you to this cloud. Okay. So in this case, we're talking about Canada, USA, but keep in mind in Africa, you have the same things. If you happen to be in Nigeria, I know some of you are here from Nigeria, you still would select in English, you would select Nigeria. And the Nigerian directory is probably the most complete directory with everything that you possibly would need. And you would see here the max compensation plan is over here. You click on that, and your max plus compensation plan is that the right one? Let's see here. Compensation, hold on. Max testimony, document. Why am I not brochure compensation form? Here we go. Presentation. Okay. You click on the presentation. You got the one-on-one. Okay. This is the Nigerian version. Okay. This is where this is. Now let me go back, and I'm going to go back to North America, which we call it Canada, USA. You click on that, and then you would select on English. Okay. Then you select on Max International Presentation. Now I'm going a little fast because this is recorded. You can always go back. You can scroll the cursor up to where you want to see it and watch that as you see fit. And then from there, you'll notice that you have the actual presentation. Now I want you to know that different countries have updated presentation in different formats. Whatever I'm sharing with you, it's not a do-all be-all. Okay? I'm just using what it is we're using in North America. Whatever you're using in your market, then use that one. Okay? My goal is not to teach you how to present that presentation. Our goal is to teach you what are the best practices to have an effective presentation. Okay? If that makes sense, type in a nice Y. Okay, if not, then put a no. We'll try to figure out how to fix this. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is there's the Max International Business Presentation Script. This is the one that today that Linda created, and it's really nicely done. You got slide 1, the script, slide 2, the topic, slide 3. These are areas that you can read this. If you want to become really, really, really good in presenting this, right? Read this and learn it, just like you were in school. Just memorize it. Now, it's entirely up to you, but eventually you'll find your own voice, and you may find that you might be passionate about certain topics, certain things in some slide. We'll cover that a little bit later on, and you may want to add a bit of a twist that is your flavor. But at the beginning, you're not sure, you're new. I really recommend learn every slide. Everything that's on these slides are exactly what should be covered, okay? And it's all here all the way to the end, okay? So you can actually access that on the website. You can download this right now. It's available.
Hey, Chris. Sorry, your screen is
frozen.
My screen is frozen?
Yeah, everything's frozen.
Okay, let me start again. And let me go full screen again.
Yeah, I sent you a text on that, Chris. I don't know if you saw it.
Okay, let me just redo this.
Oh, yeah, text me if things happen.
Yeah, please, thank you for that. Are you guys seeing this right now?
No, just see screen sharing. I saw what it says, screen sharing in this blank.
Okay, I don't have any control over this. Let me just figure something out. Let me just go and select the actual site. Is this better?
Nope, screen sharing. Chris and Tammy, screen sharing.
You're sharing the wrong screen, maybe?
Okay, let me just figure out what's going on here. Okay, let me reduce this
I
here.
think you got too many screens open.
No, it shouldn't be. It should be fine. Okay, so let me go back here. Okay, so what are you guys seeing right now?
Screen sharing.
Okay, is that the case for everybody?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what's going on, Mr. Zoom?
Yeah.
Anyhow, we click on document and then we go on presentation and
Yeah.
we'll find that.
I
Your
don't know if
internet
it's
is
my
lagging.
Yeah, it might be a lag. And let me. Okay. So at this point, you guys are just seeing screen share, and that's it.
Oh, now we're seeing Canada, US, English, Max International presentation.
Okay, so we're
Okay.
good now.
So I think we have a lag here. Maybe it's on my end. I'm not sure. Okay, so in other words, just to make sure we're clear, when you go on the website, you go under documents. When you go under documents, it takes you to Canada, USA, select English, and select Max International Presentation. Everybody sees that?
Yes.
Okay. So from there, what I was referring earlier is the PDF, and I have a feeling the PDF is probably a heavy file with a lot of text. Maybe that's why it was lagging, was trying to keep uploading. So these are the two files. So I won't click on any files here, but these are the two files that I recommend for you to have access to. Okay. Now, if we go back a step, I just wanted to show you something I also added. If I go under training and you go under new associate orientation, you probably have noticed that Tammy has done some trainings on the Max Action Plan. Now I'm going to click on it. Hopefully it's not going to take too much time. Okay. Are you guys seeing this?
We got it.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So from there, what happens is these are the steps that you want people to understand. And after the presentation is done, and I'm just kind of getting ahead of myself here, but after the presentation is done, this is a really good document to send over to them because we're talking about the authorship. And then the next step is to become a senior associate. The step after that is to qualify for the prime bonus. The step after that is to qualify for bronze. The step after that is to duplicate the process. This is the duplication process that you want to pass down to your organization. And this sheet over here, these are your 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there are 5 people underneath here. Okay? Once this is done and complete, you're most likely a bronze associate, right? They're going to become prime 1. And this is kind of the process that if this is duplicated, you don't have to worry about prime 2 and prime 3. All of that will happen by default. And we'll come back to that in a few minutes here. But all of that will happen by default. If everyone on this webinar would happen to qualify for Prime 1 every single month, that will raise the volume in your organization. And if you duplicate that with everybody coming in, regardless of, don't worry about them getting bronze and silvers, if they keep duplicating that, all of the rest falls into place. It's designed that way. So it's just wanted to mention that this particular document is part of the new associate orientation. Okay?
So we're working to upgrade the new associate orientation PowerPoint. The documents have recently been upgraded through the holidays. And Chris and I will do a video tomorrow or Wednesday, the latest, for the new associate orientation PowerPoint. So once you see that, it's okay when you're new to share it because they don't know how to get somebody started, a new person started. But as you have experience, especially like if you're a bronze, you should be easily training people on the system. You know, people, they're buying you first as their leader, and you don't want to always pass the buck by having people go look at other things. You want to step into that leadership role. I understand when people are new because they don't know how to present yet, but it's to get uncomfortable first. So when you're practicing the presentation, especially when you're new, ask a family member if you can present to them. Somebody that's not going to ask them not to judge you, just to be there, support you, encourage you, and then get comfortable talking to a friend, get comfortable talking to somebody else, maybe somebody you buy services from, and get that comfort zone going as you present. I'm telling you,
Now-
it'll pass. Those jitters inside will pass. Do you remember when we switched in February to Zoom? You know how nervous I was doing that freedom formula? I don't know if you guys knew, but I said a lot. I was nervous. That's what I do. Everybody has their way when they're a little bit nervous, don't know what to say. So you have to go back and listen to yourself. Record it. Because I listen to my recordings now, and I don't know if you noticed, but I'm slower when I speak, and I pause so that people understand me, because I'm going into the international markets, and you can't just have an agenda and go, 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 go. You're going to lose them. And this is where I've really stepped up my game by listening to myself and practicing and getting better. And you can do the same thing. If I can do it, man, you can do it.
So to go back to where to find the tools, what's important here, and Tammy talk about Zoom, and that's the next point. Mm-hmm. Every single one of you, and I highly recommend that you have the app installed on your phone in case something happens and you need to quickly jump in a session, maybe to do a testimonial for one of your associates or upline or downline, whatever the situation, because it works very, very well. Okay, the app works like a charm. And also, obviously, your version in your computer. Now, as you know, Zoom is free. I believe you can have up to 5 people in the room, and I think you have about 45 minutes, okay, which should be plenty of time. But here's something I'd like to share with you. If you have a Zoom that you're not paying for, and you invite someone who's paying for theirs, for example, let's say that Tammy or I or Paul or Mary Paul or one of you who have the Zoom, okay, you're paying your monthly fee, automatically there's no more time limit. So I found that out just through trial and error about a year ago when someone asked me to share. We thought we only had 45 minutes, not realizing it's been 50 minutes. It's still going. That's because I was on and I'm paying for my membership. So it's just something for you to be mindful of. So if your downline, for example, don't have the funds to pay Zoom every month, but you are, if you come in to validate and you're in the presentation, even if you come in, let's say after 40 minutes, you come in, let's say at, 11:40 and the 45 minutes, then there's no more limit the moment you're in. So it's just some, again, food for thought where your downline does not necessarily need to spend the money if they don't have it. I know it's not a big amount, but nevertheless, some people might be self-conscious about that. Okay, so you as an upline, if you validate the calls at the end, then they don't have to have the full version because you do, and they can tap into that feature that you have as a member of Zoom, a paying member of Zoom. So I thought of mentioning that. That's why I mentioned talk about the free version and the paid version. And another thing, and I really recommend for you to do, remember, I'm not talking here, selling lemons on the side road, making a bit of nickel and change here. I'm talking some serious money. So this is up to you. I recommend you do some homework. When you go into Zoom, I don't know how much is available in the free version, but I have a feeling that you may have all the courses there, because the more educated you are, the more likely you're going to buy the membership. I would think that everybody has access to that. So when you log into your virtual office of Zoom, there's a lot of training online, and it will train you how to use Zoom. I know that myself, what I need to be trained on right now is to do what Dean Gozioso is doing and Eric Orr is doing, right? Where I can have 2 monitors here. I can have, 1,000 members all over the map, and we have the camera. And how do I'm going to learn this stuff, I guarantee you. Why? Because eventually we need to do kickoffs, right? Yeah. So we this year we didn't do any because the technology, everybody's adjusting. Mm-hmm. But in future years, I'm telling you, I'm creating a studio. And we'll be able to invite people from Ghana, invite people from Nigeria, invite people from the Philippines as guest speakers. Do you understand? It's borderless now. And then we can do a really good event as guest speakers. So you hear from people from all over the world, including yourselves, where you can share a segment. So I need to do my homework too. And trust me, I will know how. So I extend a challenge not for you to do what I'm sharing I'm going to do, but at least for you to understand the features, like how do you change your background in your screen, how do you use things like that, simple things to give you a better look, a better approach, a better representation of yourself when you're presenting online. Okay, so this is what I mean by do your homework. Because I'm not talking about a couple $100 a month here. I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars a month. I train people to make over 100,000 plus a year. That's what we do. Once you make that, to make more than that, it's entirely up to you. Okay? So this is the kind of information I'm sharing. So I don't want to overwhelm you. So just tune out on some of the things that you may feel is going too far or too much. Okay, how to prepare for a presentation. So let me switch my screen again. And this time I'm going to get the presentation up. And okay. And then I'm going to go back to my Zoom. Okay. Let me stop that. Just bear with me here. At home, I have a much better screen. My computer here is a tiny little screen. I need to work around that. Okay, where's my presentation? Okay, so I'm going to stop this. And I'm going to come in. And where's my presentation? Okay.
It's not there.
Yeah, it's there. It's just Microsoft playing tricks on me. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Okay.
Can they see that though?
Yep, they will. Okay, so I'm going to share. Okay. Now. Okay, just type in the yes if you see the presentation, the max presentation format.
Or a thumbs up reaction.
Or also, yeah, there's a little reaction button. I think it has a little smiley face or something like that. When you click on that, you can put the thumbs up. You can, yeah, exactly. You got it. Everybody, let's try it. Right? So we're learning to become effective. Yes, a nice heart. That's beautiful, Lucy. That's it. So this interaction really adds on to your presentation. I'm telling you, this is what we need to do and duplicate within our organization. So let's go back to the presentation format here. Let me just take this off. So what happens, see, I need to have 3 screens. So I can put stuff on the side and be able to have one thing on my middle screen here. So one of the things that's important is you're most likely going to be doing presentation one-on-one. Maybe you are presenting to 2 people, maybe 3 people. It is most likely not going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It's a possibility, but when you do that, trust me, it comes with a paycheck, so it's really cool. But the point is, most of you are going to do one-on-one, 2-on-1, and etc. So this is kind of what I'm going to be training you to do. Okay. Number 1, and Tammy touched on that. I want to bring this back because it's very, very important. Is know who you are talking to. If someone invites me to do a presentation, I like to have a bit of a background, right? Who are they? What do they do for a living? Are they married? Are they a couple, right? Whatever the couple happens to be. And are they, what are they looking for? Are they looking for an opportunity or are they looking for product knowledge? Now, regardless, I'm never going to neglect the opportunity. There's ways to bring it up without really irritating people. And again, and feel free to post comments or questions if you have as we're sharing here. But know who you are talking to, okay? And be prepared prior to the appointment, okay? And often the person who invites me, for example, Lucy recently, she gives me a great little blurb on what's going on. And even when the webinar starts, okay, very important is make sure that you introduce yourself. And then after that, they introduce. If there's a third party, I'm going to use Lucy again as an example where she happens to be hosting, right? Tammy and I happen to be guest speakers. And there's her associate there or prospect, whatever the situation may be. So she's going to turn around and just like we did in the past trainings on third-party credibility, introduction, and back and forth. Same element, same principle. So Lucy would introduce the person. Once the person is introduced, she will introduce us and she will give a bit of a background. If you happen to be one-on-one, same thing, right? Give a bit of a background about yourself, because if you ask someone to tell something about them, it's kind of polite to open up yourself first and then ask him to open up. And of course, there's common sense to all of that. You know what I mean? People tend to be curious, who am I talking to? And that's the reason. Once you've done that, you'll find that there is a bit of a synergy sometime that occurs. It's possible the person may be cool, and that's totally cool. But the process, share a little bit about yourself, they share about themselves, and get to know each other. People like to do business with people they like. Okay? So that's the beginning. Okay, and we touched on that earlier. Is what are they looking for? Are they looking for the health aspect or the opportunity aspect? Let me tell you something. I have never met anybody who wants no money. Never. It's how you present it. It's how it's being introduced. It's how you flow from one to the other. But obviously, if they want to hear about the product, you know that that's where their attention are. So you may want to spend a bit of focus on that and some even Q&A on that. Okay? And from that point on, when you present, at this point, try not to spend too much time on slides that are not relevant to what they are not looking for.
That's right.
Focus on what they are looking for. So for example, over here, very quickly, welcome to the business of the future. Especially now, since 2020, the reckoning, if you want to call it, right? Everything is online now. The business of the future. You're kind of reiterating the common sense of why we're doing this. Well, that's what the future looks like. And then I briefly talk about the visionaries. I don't spend a lot of time on that, right? But I want them to understand who our CEO is, Jim Stuvelia, and briefly on Larry Lowe. And then we're going to focus on Herb Nagasawa. Now, the reason why Dr. Keller is not there anymore is because Dr. Keller passed away in 2009. It's kind of getting old, right? So, but we still have the product that he created called the Max GXL. But generally, Herb Nagasawa is, and again, it's because we're trying to condense the presentation time. So there's not too much information being delivered. So you just share the element, the highlights of Dr. Herb Nagasawa. And then from there, why is this opportunity so important? This is very important. Why is it so important? We're dealing with big concerns. The health, hello, I mean, it's major concern today. Many of you are aware of the power of the cell GVD. I don't know if you heard what has happened. I don't want to share this because it's public right now. It's all over the internet. The point here is it's amazing what's going on with our technology through the precursors that our products provide. And we're dealing with a financial crisis because we're in a changing economy. We've been saying that for 13 years, but now it's, I mean, it has accelerated like 1,000 times, right? So very important. People will relate. You cover that with passion, people will turn around and now you have their attention. And then you kind of touch a little bit on the science and then what is glutathione. And again, I'm not going to do a presentation. You can watch some of the things that has been done in the past. Again, the benefits. Benefits are important. See, most people are not going to know the science. They're not going to retain the science. In fact, if you're too scientific, most people won't relate. They may love you. They may appreciate the information. They can't repeat it. I don't have time for that. Boom. You're starting to lose points while you're presenting. Mm-hmm. So if you know who they are and their background, if it's a teacher who happens to be a math quiz or a scientist or, naturopath, obviously you may want to add a bit more, but keep in mind the majority, this is the 1%ers. The 99% are not going to know. But when you say what are the benefits, now you got their attention. That's a slide you want to focus on. This is a slide you want to focus on. We can all relate to that. You look at this molecule here, the toxin, man, it certainly looks like what we've been hearing about since, for the past year or so, right? So people will pay attention to you. And then you come back to our scientist, right? Dr. Herb Nagasawa. And again, you establish credibility. And I know many of you know this, but now what you're doing is you're establishing credibility. Why are we different from every Joe out there? And no disrespect meant to other network marketing companies, because all of them have something special to offer. But when it comes to nutraceuticals, when it comes to the precursors, when it comes to science backup, when it comes to anecdotal stories matching what the science says it's doing, I mean, we're flying colors. You cannot miss us. So what we're trying to establish is that kind of credibility for people to be comfortable and be at ease that, you know what, I really want to hear more about this. And then again, you talk about the products and some of the benefits. I'm not going to cover them here, but you understand all of this and you walk them through the benefits and some of the things. And then from that point on, that's when we're shifting. Some folks may turn around and say, you know what, I'm not that into the money aspect of it. And that's totally cool. But here's the thing. What if I show you how the company will pay for your products? Bang! They're interested in the products. Now there's some interest. They may not be interested to make thousands or even hundreds or whatever the situation may be, but this could certainly grow into them. Like I said, I've never met anybody in the world that do not want to have money. Okay? I'm telling you, you need money to breathe. It's like oxygen today, right? It's very difficult to live if you can't breathe oxygen. Well, money kind of ranks right up there with it. So people need it, but it's the way that it's delivered that they can relate to. So again, I'm not saying that that's the way you should say it. What I'm saying is it could be an approach if you need it, if you feel someone is resistant on the opportunity. Because here's something I want to confess with you. Why would you want to spend all this time preparing, presenting for someone who's not going to engage? Might as well get them out of there. Get them out of the way right away. They're customers and that's it. Stop. Done. Over. And again, it's not being disrespectful. Is if they're not interested in the opportunity, then I'm not going to spend my time trying to convince them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure they understand the value of the product, and then it's going to be an added customer added on to my other couple of hundreds of customers that we have. I'm more interested in the business developer. Okay, so in this particular case, then knowing that, if let's say that's the case, then I will continue. And in this case, from that point on, again, why are we bringing this slide? You don't have to read everything that's in here. People can see while you're presenting. So you don't have to read everything that's on your slide. So what you want them to understand is the weight loss, the cosmetic, the nutraceutical, the energy drink. It's massive, big business today. And Max is positioned. And then again, we're talking about the annual revenues of this industry. Why is it there? Because a lot of folks have resistance with this industry. And when you talk like this, I can tell you folks that 2020, that line is going to go like a rocket ship. Straight up. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. I don't know what the number will be, but I'm telling you, it will be impressive. So as we can, because network marketing is thriving.
And if you're talking to women, you can see that 73% women, these are things that you want to spend time doing. If you're talking to a woman, she's going to relate to this.
100%. I often, folks, see, if I look at our team, I would say 80% are women. Mm-hmm. 80%. So the fact here is these are important numbers. Very important numbers. So Tammy's dead on. I'm glad you stopped on that. Again, here, what do I do here? I don't turn around and read everything. I'm just explaining to people that in our strategy, this is the money side and this is the time you spent. Often people complain, well, people in this business don't make a lot of money. Why is that? Not that it doesn't work. Is most people are working this business in this era, and that's all they spend their time with, gathering customers, selling products, selling science. It's wonderful. But this is the pool that you play with, where if people are looking into becoming a distribution network, this is what we are. We are a distribution network. I know you've heard me say that many times. And what happens is as you start from zero, the quickest way to start earning an income is by doing these activities, which I'm going to cover in a few minutes, which keep in mind the prime bonus because it's the basic foundation that will create the income that will get you to live in the area that you really want to live and get the kind of income you're looking for. That's why I use this slide. So they understand the importance of the distribution network and not just, well, let me start them as a customer and let's hope they convert into a business. Yes, that may happen. But if you always build your business in that sense, it'll take you 20 years what someone can do in 2 or 7 months or 9 months. I'm not kidding. Okay? So from there, again, I'm not going to go through all of this, but I will just list some of those things. And keep in mind that depending on who I'm talking to, I may skip a few things. But this is, again, on a need-to-need one-on-one basis. That's what I meant earlier by know who you're talking to and understand what they want. I'm not going to do a full presentation to someone who's not interested. I'm just going to give you the whole picture here. Now, as you start over here, you start about the fast start income. Why is it important? The fast start income tells the person you're talking to that there's money that can be paid next week. Okay? And that is important for someone that may need the money to start and may have to borrow the money from something that needs to be repaid, but they have people they know right away that they think they may want to get involved. Right away, they're starting to click, okay, well, I can start that way. I can start with this package because I know I could probably sell 2 or 3 of this, within my first month or whatever. So you don't know what's going on in people's mind. So that's where the fast start has some value. Now, when we get to here, this is important because this is how it all begins. The very first thing you want to do, if you recall, we talked about the max action plan that Tammy designed with the 5 steps. Okay, well, this is step number 1, where you sponsor 1 on the left, 1 on the right. They're consuming their auto ship 2 products a month. And once you have done that, which is a minimum of 100 PV, personal volume, then you qualify as a senior associate. There's a certain level of satisfaction when someone has accomplished something. Doesn't matter what it is. It's accomplished. It's done. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And that will keep people in. And the next step, then we walk through the process, is the prime bonus. Well, if you look at the step 1 to 5, which is a summary of all of this, is now we got to qualify for prime. And then you walk through the steps, 1, 2, 3. And then here's the illustration. And then you don't talk about money here. Just mention that you receive a share. Now, we're not publicly traded. It's just the company will calculate a pool based on a pool that is worldwide, and you'll get a share from that pool. People are okay with that. They don't know, okay? And that could vary. We don't. So from that point on, once you've accomplished that, where you've sponsored your first 5 that are consuming 2 products a month, that some may come just with auto ship, some may come with a package. The ones who comes with a package are most likely going to duplicate, and the ones that comes with an auto ship will most likely going to be what we call a glorified customer, which you love them too. You know why? Because they will help you qualify and maintain your prime level 1. It's getting dry. So from there, the key is to have 600 point. Okay? So we'll get to that in a moment, but what's important is once you start duplicating yourself, you'll start getting 600 point every time someone qualifies for prime level 1. The key is, just so you understand, is if 3 out of the 5 qualifies for prime level 1, you get to prime level 2, you get 3 shares, and so forth. You understand the process. And then from here, what's very important is to understand the relationship between why prime 1 is important, because the prime 1 is what builds the foundation to create a solid binary income. That is the reason why we have associates getting paid a steady income as diamonds and diamonds and above. Every single month, it is because of the primes that are creating that foundation of 600 CV. So from that point on, you look on your left team, you got 1,800, you got 1,200. And the key here is every time someone qualifies, 1 personal volume plus the 500 from their enrollments, that's a total of 600. Then, now they have a logical understanding that it's not just magic where you make anywhere between 200 to 500. It's because of the constructing steps from you sponsoring your 5 and duplicating that, which are creating these blocks of 600 CV. And then you look at the 2,000 on the left and on the right. Well, 1,800, 1,200, you make the difference. You know that these are the difference that needs to be filled in. And how is it going to be filled? By making sure that they are duplicating, or you may have to add more. It's up to you. I would recommend to teach them how. And that's how this grows. And that's how these numbers are going to grow. And it's going to get you to grow into the ladder of income all the way up to the crown diamond. And from there, you talk about royalties. Every time you help someone in your team to achieve anywhere from bronze to a crown, you're entitled to earn a percentage that the company will send to you over and above everything we talked about, which is quantifiable, and it's also accumulable. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful compensation plan. And you know what I do often? While I'm here, I will reiterate is that we're dealing with a product that is scientifically based, that is very, very credible. And you saw that. And now you add an incredible, generous compensation plan that can really satisfy your lifestyle and so forth and more. And on top of that, what happens is the company gives you a percentage of what they earn, because they recognize if they earn this, you've helped them get there. They don't need to understand all of this. What they need to understand is you get compensated for helping your team grow. And then from there, the rank pool, you understand the details here. And then we get how we get started. And that's when, often, depending on the situation, when I stop here, I may ask them, how do you feel? Mm-hmm. Do you have any questions? Are you comfortable with what we share so far? I want to make sure that they're coming along with me as I'm sharing. Do you understand the value of how powerful this opportunity can be for you? See, I'll pause and ask the question and wait for feedback. Once you get here, then they understand the value of why do I need to spend money? What you need your products.
And if I can just add to that, Chris, because if you're going through the compensation plan because you have an agenda to go through the compensation plan, be careful with that. If somebody has not had any experience in network marketing, they come from the job world, they're used to get paid one way. When you started adding and adding, watch their body language. Their eyes are going to glaze over. So make sure they are following you, because you might have to stop or briefly go through, this is all going to fall into play. Don't worry about it. What's the most important is you getting started, and we're going to make sure that you get trained all through the process. Okay, so don't overwhelm people, because you will lose them. If they think that they have to do this to sign up, they're gone.
Yeah, and keep in mind that sometime I may actually stop at a certain slide, right? I feel the temperature. Mm-hmm. I feel their response. I look at their body language, okay? I know there might be some questions or comments, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so just, again, always feel the temperature of your prospect. Don't force the agenda because you know that you haven't completed yet.
Yeah.
Okay? I know I'm a person who likes to go from the beginning to the end. I like to go in stages, and I tend to be that way. So I have to catch myself and, again, always be sensitive to all of that. But if you're going through the flow of the presentation, then you just finish. And what's important here is, in the past 10 years, the company has given 50% of what they earn to the associates, to the field leaders, to the consumers. That's what the message of this slide is. And these are the markets that we're currently officially doing business in. And then you finish up with, some of the benefits and so forth. And the reason why I like this slide is because often I say, we talked about a company who is scientifically based, which you can see the value of these products. And sometimes there might even been some interaction where they've been on the product, they might have shared a few things, there might have been a testimonial. So the solidity of the credibility of the product is strong. And I say, you just saw a very generous compensation plan. And to top it all up, to put the cherry on the cake, the company will actually pay for your trips around the world. And it's very Thailand, Belize, Peru, South Africa, Greece. I mean, these are,
Dubai.
5 stars. I mean,
few.
these are, right?
Yeah.
So again, it just adds a lot of value. And someone you don't know, but someone could be totally gung-ho on seeing that because they've never seen something like this before. And then from there, I like to finish with this slide. It says, we've all done a lot. We have reached the world, and we're just starting. because most countries that we're in, they're not that old, right? So it's just getting started. And I start with It's One Dream. That started with the idea of some of doctors that we talked about. I bring them back, who caught the vision of the, you know, our executives and investors, who created a company called Max International, which now has a team of consumers all over the world, which now are getting their products paid for. Some have changed their lifestyle completely. Some have been millions. Again, you can be careful with that word because some people are afraid of money, right? So it has turned into a mission. So, and this is kind of the way, so I started soft, and at the end you can see I'm excited, I'm motivated, and this is what you kind of want to project. If you're not excited and you're not motivated, I assure you that will be transcendent to your prospect. Okay, so these are all the things, and as you're presenting, like, I'm actually excited because we are living the results of this plan. So I know it's real. So in your case, if you don't feel that way, you need a third party to validate. So you present, but then you invite one of us to validate you, to validate the opportunity, to add on to the excitement. I'm telling you, this can completely change your opportunity. So in short, the point here is that you want to be yourself, and you want to make sure that you attend to people's needs. That's why when you start the presentation, before you start the presentation, in fact, prior, when you prepare, if you have an idea of who they are and what they want, what are the problems, what are the needs, in your presentation, you address those needs. That's when you become even more impactful, right? So let me see if there's any comments or question that needs to be addressed. All of these certifications are still active. Yes, Barbara, and all the certification are still active and valid. Absolutely, no issues there. And if there's any questions on that, you can always send support@max.com. And if you don't get it, something I do recommend, just use my email or Tammy's. If you put my email on the recipient on the CC, because I tend to be a squeaky wheel. If I see that an associate of mine has not got a response and I'm there and I will make the call all the way to the top and say, okay, what's going on? We need that information. We need to make sure that our people are receiving, right? So if you feel, I'd be happy to be there for you. And corporate, trust me, it's not they don't want to answer. Sometimes they might be overwhelmed, and I'm not making excuses, but these are things that happens. Okay. Now, Myra Paul, you wrote something massive here. I'm not sure if you're, if it's a comment or if it's a question pool. I would assume that it's a comment that you're putting in here.
Yeah.
Okay,
just
perfect.
Validating. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
So how many are going to start presenting this week? Thumbs up. Where are our presenters this week? New prospects, new presenting. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. And you know what? Be active in the Facebook group, the new Canada-US Facebook group. Write some comments. Let people know what you're up to. It's all about accountability and getting recognized for the work that you're doing. So I think it's important that we stay more and more engaged in actions and activities more than ever, because we are all stuck at home, keeping that interactive connection worldwide.
Mm-hmm. So in closing, folks, what's really important here is you need to take action. Mm-hmm. You can't depend on someone else to define how your life may be. You have to take control. And it's really interesting because as we are listening to Eric and all of these gurus, and I'm realizing that we've been doing these things for years, but often what happens is we tend to overparent too much by making it too easy for you, to have access to everything you possibly would need. But the reality is we didn't have any of that. We had to design everything. We needed to find ourselves. I needed to build my credibility with Joe and corporate. And at first, nobody answered me. I got no information, no answer. And many of you now are building a relationship with corporate members. And this is how it starts. Mm-hmm. And what's important is take action. Don't wait on Chris and Tammy or anybody else to prepare an event for you. Do your events. Many of you have an incredible voice and you have no idea who needs you. I'm telling you, you have no idea. People need what we have to offer here. They really do. People are suffering, not silently anymore. They are suffering when it comes to their health and when it comes to their health. So what's happening here is we have a wonderful solution. And if every single one of you would commit to do at least one presentation a week online to one person, that would change. Do 5, do 10, whatever it is. I just want every one of you do one a week. It will change everything. So we're learning the social media thing. You probably noticed on the Canada USA, we created this Canada USA group. Why did we do that? It's because Canada USA, it's a WhatsApp system. And I find that with WhatsApp, whenever you post something, things scrolls back and eventually gets lost in translation. You don't see it. But when it comes to a Facebook group, which is a private group, we can start interacting. And in the interacting process, there's so much learning. Now, I know that it's new. I know for many of you, Facebook, it's not something that you are kind of using on a regular basis. But for those of you that are in a Canada USA, I highly recommend that you participate, right? If someone posts something or shares a video, and don't think of it as, well, it's not my group, I'm not going to share it, I'm going to share my group. If you think that way, folks, you're missing out. You're really, really missing out. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a community that can go and create a synergy, to create excitement, knowledge, and then, of course, you have your individual groups. You need to have that. You can't just rely on someone else unless you're brand new. But it's important that you participate. Mm-hmm. That you're not, like Eric Worre would say, a ghost, right? You want to participate. If you're not used to it, at least once a day, check if you have any notification. And then maybe share something. And I recommend start there. That could be the one activity that will keep you accountable to do something at least every day. That one thing. Go through your group and see what's going on. Post a message. Post a comment. And eventually you become comfortable doing this in a group and you create your own group. Then from that point on, you become more effective. Right? So these are all the things that I want to transcend to you. So let's use the Canada USA as an example. Just let's share some activities. And the reason why there's a group called Max Global Diamond. Everybody's in there. We got the Philippines, we got Nigeria, we got Ghana, we got Canada, we got the United States, we got everybody in between. From Dubai, from all over the world, right? And many of them are not even associate. They're just curious and they post stuff every day that I have to delete because it has nothing to do with Max. But the fact here is the other groups are more specific. So that's why there's the Ghana group, the Nigeria group. In Nigeria, there's different groups, right? Because there's other diamonds and crown diamonds. I'm not going to do groups and hijack their teams. Okay? So all of this, and again, if you have any questions on how I manage this stuff, I'll be happy to sit with you and explain all of that. But I think it's important for every one of you, if you're using WhatsApp, WhatsApp is great, especially if you're starting a small group. But the Facebook group, I really, really recommend you participate. Participate. I cannot stress this enough. It will help you create excitement within your organization. Now, Scott, in reference to your question with the Celgivity, I have no idea of the details right now, but call me on a one-on-one basis and I'll answer whatever questions you may have. And I'm assuming it might be something with products, and I don't know. We'll give you some info there. Okay, so, and Paul, Barbara, and you saw Chris, Paul here. Okay, what is your email address at Max to acquire the certification? Paul, I don't know. I've never used it in 13 years, to be honest with you.
You mean support at Max?
But if you go to support@max.com, the information should be there. And if you need something, Paul, let me know and I'll help you acquire it. But if you go to Active Team, I do have some certifications. They might be a little bit out of date, but you may have the website to go to the Canada site and get the revised version that's available there.
So what I recommend, anything that's company related, you guys, go to the company directly.
Yes.
Contact customer service and ask who you would send this information to, who do you CC in the email. Ask the company, anything company related. Yeah, so what we're doing is all team related, team building, trainings on how to build the business, anything product and
science
detailed,
and certification.
It's the company.
This
for
is
sure.
This is beside what I want to share here tonight. This is not what's going to grow an organization for you.
Yeah.
But it is elements that could be necessary for one individual that can contribute to your growth. I'm not blind to that. I get it. And these we can do that on a one-on-one basis. But like Tammy stated, go to the company first. That's what they're there for. Because if I start micromanaging, I mean, life becomes unbearable. But the company will back, and if you need help, that's when I'd be glad to step in and support you. And I've done that many, many times. Right? Recently, I've done that for Paul for some of his recent upcomings. And I had conversation with Joe, and things just unfold. And now Paul and Joe are talking regularly. So this is what I mean. I want you to have all the resources you need to thrive, but I also want to be mindful of not wasting your time for details that won't make the slightest difference in your CV at the end of the year, right? And that's what I'm here for. And I'll tell you straight out, but I will help you acquire the information that you need. So today is really how do we present and what's going on in our head as we present, how do we prepare? And the last thing I want to leave you with here is make sure you are familiar with the process of enrolling someone. Be prepared.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it happens a lot. Someone's ready to sign up. You're not ready. They see it.
Or you don't know how.
Or you don't know how. And you just lost the prospect while the iron was hot and ready to be molded. You missed it. And then you have to start all over again if you're able to chase them, right? So people are busy. So this is some of the points I wanted to share. So Scott, if you have any questions on that, send me a quick email and let's chat tomorrow. And we'll go some details. If I need corporate, if I need Joe on the call, we'll get Joe on the call and we'll get the answers. Okay? So any other questions before we end the call, folks? I know we went a few minutes past the hour. Everything's good? Okay, everybody. Well, listen, guys, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for being here. And we'll announce very, very soon what the topics are for the next Monday. Go ahead.
Yeah, it'll be new associate orientation because once we finish the presentation, we'd like to go through it with you because again, the moment you sign up a brand new person, this is not about you anymore. It's about your new people, and the key is to be training your new people and knowing where the resources is, like Chris said, and how do you present and send them the tools. So you got to know all of this stuff. So as soon as that's done, anybody who's part of the YouTube channel will see that updated notification. Listen to it. Monday we'll talk about it.
Yeah, Tammy did an awesome update to the new associate orientation. We're just finalizing the details, and then we'll make that permanent. Okay. The other thing too is I know that some of you might be from different markets. I'm telling you, every markets have their presentation. So whatever I shared today, it's not the do-all be-all. It's an example of what we use here in North America, which over time we'll update and so forth. But I'm telling you one thing, it is not the presentation that will make the difference. It is the speaker.
Mm-hmm. You.
It is you.
People buy you.
People buy you, not the stuff. They buy you. So we'll end on this note. So everybody have yourself a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I'll just